Welcome to Watch with Mike. If you're a new viewer, I'm Mike, and my passion is restoring vintage men's mechanical wristwatches from the 20th century. On this channel, I share my watchmaking journey with you, and I love when you join the conversation in the comments section. I've found some great watch projects over the past 4 years, many of which I've restored and serviced for the channel. But even when I'm shopping and I can't find a wristwatch that suits my tastes, there's other tempting timekeeping treasures to be found at flea markets, jewelry shops, and thrift stores that I frequent. I often find pocket watches, which interest me, but I've never serviced one. From what I know about wristwatches, I have a feel of what to look for in a vintage pocket watch, but first impressions can often lead to letdown when you start to look deeper. I'm going to start this video by showing you a vintage Elgin full-size pocket watch that I instantly fell in love with, but when I took a closer look, I decided it wasn't for me, and I'm going to tell you why. Then I'm going to show you 2 stunning pocket watches that I did buy. Both of these watches have something in common that makes them incredibly affordable, and I'll share what it is if you want to be on the lookout for your own collection. Before digging in, I want to bring up the subject that I'm sure many of you are interested in, and that is restoring and flipping watches as a side gig or even as a career. Disclaimer, I have never sold any of the watches that I've been working on. I consider myself a collector and I've given many watches as gifts, but frankly, I enjoy working on these watches and being connected with the history behind the companies and the people who have owned them before me. But you never know, someday I might decide to downsize, and it will be fun to see what kind of resale value my collection will bring. I just watched a really good video that I recommend on the Watch Restoration Cottage YouTube channel, in which they break down the cost and effort of buying and flipping a pocket watch on eBay. I'll put a link to the video down below. The gist is that there are great deals on vintage pocket watches out there, but unexpected parts costs can easily eat into your profit, especially when bidding on these watches based just on a photo and seller description. This video has some great tips on making you a better buyer on the bay and helps manage expectations if you're planning on flipping for fun and profit. Here's the antique Elgin pocket watch that I thought was absolutely stunning when I saw it in the display case of a local thrift store. They were asking $120, but when I took a closer look at it, I saw that the porcelain dial had several prominent cracks. I really liked the fancy hands and gilded ornamentation on the dial, but I was having a hard time justifying $120 for this watch. The manager took it out of the case and removed the back. I immediately saw that the balance wheel was flopping around. I didn't know whether it was a broken balance staff or damaged jewels, and when I showed the manager the problem, she kindly reduced the price to $50. But then I took a closer look at the writing on the inside of the case back. I think this watch was recased in a modern case because of the cheap-looking, bigger-than-normal perlage decoration, those swirl designs, and the use of modern fonts engraved in the watch back. So despite it being $50, I decided to leave it for someone else. I guess the watch gods were looking over me because within half an hour of me looking at this watch, I found the second of the 2 pocket watches that I'm about to show you. So here's a secret that can make some of these watches incredibly affordable. Both of the watches I bought are size 0S, which is often considered a ladies' size pocket watch. As such, there's a reduced demand, and therefore you can often find these watches for extremely reasonable prices. Not only do they make fine-looking timepieces for your collection, but they're beautifully made and can be serviced and calibrated to a high degree of accuracy. Plus, if replacement parts are a concern, there's a good supply of similar movements available. But I should temper your enthusiasm by saying that if your endgame is reselling, these might not have the cachet of larger railroad-approved men's pocket watches. On the plus side, this pocket watch dial size is about the size of a modern men's wristwatch. So I'm thinking that these pocket watches are great candidates to put into an aftermarket wristwatch case, often called a marriage watch. And when you look at the care and detail put into manufacturing these historic timepieces, you really can't beat it for value if you're looking for a high-quality project at a reasonable price. I paid $35 a piece for these 2 pocket watches, and I'm looking forward to servicing them. If you're new to this, then I hope this video gets you excited about finding and working on your next watch project. And if you have experience on pocket watches, especially on where to find wristwatch conversion cases, then I would love to hear your comments and suggestions. Two pocket watches today. These are size 0S. This is an Elgin. This is a 1907 Elgin Grade 354 Model 2. On this one you can see right into the case. And what do we know about it? Does it set? The setting is just a little bit wonky. Let's see, does it wind? So it goes and stops. Oh, and it also looks like the bezel is not connected. The ankle bone is no longer connected to the shin bone. We'll try to figure that out. There's a little fingernail notch there for the back. And if we look within that dust cover, look at that. That beautiful movement. Elgin, USA. 15 jewels. Safety pinion. And is it adjusted? Unadjusted? I am not quite sure. And let's see if I give it a little puff with my blower ball. Well, I think it has potential. It wants to go. So we will have to open this up. Take a closer look. So that is pocket watch number 1 from Elgin, USA. Okay. Next, this is another size 0S movement, and I guess I should take off this gigantic chain. Let's see, does it just squeeze off? Yes. There we go. Chain off. And before I pop it open, I'll tell you that this is a Lady Waltham 1903 size 0S 16 jewel adjusted. Let's take a look. I think the front pops open if we press this down. And there it is. That is a handsome looking timepiece. And this watch sets very nicely. And does it wind? Press that in. Not only does it wind, but it goes. Come on. Come on, second hand. There we go. Just needed a bump start. Come on. Don't be making a fool of me. You were running, right? Sometimes I feel like a kid, like the first time you give them a steering wheel and they mimic what they've seen their parents do and they just start going like this on the wheel. Well, if that's what it takes to start up the watch, then that's what it takes. Okay. There's a look at the engraving on the front. It has a monogram. I believe this monogram says CT. On the back, similar scroll work, and there's like a little beach scene right down in there. Looks like a little walkway with a hill in the background and some wheat or crops in the foreground. And there is a little cutout. I think it's right there. Yes. And look what we have going on back there. Callie Taylor. What an inscription. Whoever inscribed this just went bananas on the entire dust cap. Okay, let's dig deeper. Where was that little notch? Yeah, I don't know what the secret is for popping these. I'm doing more damage to my fingernail than to the watch. Yeah, it looks like there's a little indent there. Yep, here it comes. Oh, mama. I really don't want to take a case knife to this, but I really do want to show. There it is. Okay, got it open. And take a look at everything going on in there. Come on, do you want to run today? It's a more pretty shot when it's ticking. Up to this camera. Oh, come on, you want to go. Go watch. Go watch. So this is a 16 jewel watch, and it is adjusted. So nice, so sparkly, really clean. So there you have it, a pair of pocket watches. Elgin, Waltham, within a few years of each other, and basically the same size. Different types of case. So I think this will give us some fun tinkering time. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm Mike. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.